Hello, beautiful. Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to Love Yourself Fiercely. I'm very excited to speak with Gresson today. Gresson Peiffer is the author of Sharing My Light and Healing Energy. She is a beautiful soul from Belgium. Hello, international guest. And I can't wait for her to share her journey with us. Hi, Gresson. How are you?
Hello, I'm fine. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Um, it's a pleasure.
So I would love for you to kind of just kick this episode off with you sharing your journey to self-love, sharing your evolution. Like, when did you know that you needed to make self-love a priority in your life?
All right. Like I've always known that I was connected to the universe and everything. I always knew that I was meant to inspire other people, but I never was given a chance before because I've always been undervalued, looked down at. It was like there was a facade in between the real me and the the me that people saw,
Yeah.
right? The person who that the people saw. And I never really knew why that was until I've had this spiritual awakening that reconnected me with my inner child again. And yeah, I've been through it. I've gone through it with the flow. In the flow, I was pretty amazed. Lucky me.
And when did you have your spiritual awakening? When did you really feel the pull to listen to spirit?
That must have been when Corona started,
Mm,
like last year. I think a lot of people were about to wake up right that time.
mhm.
Um, let's say I was working at from home, and then you can't ignore it anymore. Then you need to
Yeah.
confront it. It's like all the noise at work has lessened. Then I really had the chance to reconnect again, and I thought, yeah, it was a little bit hard because I've also experienced a trigger from someone.
Mhm.
And then I thought, okay, thank you, universe. I know, universe. They
So
always do like that.
so let's talk a little bit about
Yeah,
that. About, you know, you said there was the real you, and then there was
yeah,
the you that you showed to the world, and there was a bit of a facade.
yeah.
Was that something you did all of your life, or was that something you did as you entered the workforce? Was that how did that come to be, where you could clearly feel that you were out of alignment with your authentic self, but
Yeah.
feared showing up in your truth? What was that about?
I think it was throughout all of my life. I think I've had this session with someone from intuitive training because I felt a blockage in my heart and wanted to know what it was. And then she said, "Your inner child is still asking why they didn't play with you when you were 4 years old."
Mm,
I thought right there, I thought, yes, that's it. Your inner child is still stuck in the past, while your adult self knows everything.
mhm,
Your self knows you are meant to be unique. You're meant to be different. You're not meant to follow the crowd. You need to follow your own path, create your own energy, and the right people will come eventually.
mhm, mhm.
Um, that was one insight that I've gotten out of this all.
Right. And what was it? So I love inner child healing. I think that it is
Mm-hmm.
pivotal in terms of us really, I call it the
Yes.
coming home, right? We're actually
Yeah.
coming home to our truth through inner child
Yeah.
healing. And I love that you made that distinction. The 4-year-old you
Mm-hmm.
was still not understanding why other
Yes.
kids didn't like her, but the grown-ups, like, we need to embrace our true identity.
Yes.
But what
Yes.
happens, the truth is, what happens, for the listeners who've never heard of inner child before,
Mm-hmm.
is we emotionally stunt when our trauma occurs. And so we physically grow, Our brains evolve, we adapt to our environment, but our emotional growth stops at trauma. And we learn ways to protect ourselves from reoccurring trauma. But what happens is we disconnect from our truth and we mold to what we're expected to be. We mold to the way society says we should be. And then we're grown-ups and we're like, why do I feel like this? It's the understanding where the trauma occurred in our life, at what age, and how it impacted our beliefs about ourselves. So tell me a little bit about that. So I'm guessing that your inner child healing had something to do with not feeling accepted in your truth.
Yes, right. I also have this Filipino background, born in Belgium, but I have this Filipino roots. And at school, you see me right now with black hair. I don't really look like a Belgian. And I think that's where it all started also a little bit. They looked at me as different. They put a label on me as different, and they played with similar kids, kids who were similar, and totally ignored me, right? They never gave me a chance. It's a pity because I love diversity. You can learn a lot from each and everyone.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's also like sometimes it's also hard to apply for a job because I think my name is like Gresson Peiffer. Peiffer refers to a German, so they probably think blonde hair. Someone with blonde hair will enter, and there it goes. They all have these expectations around them, and the first impression they keep it. It's like they keep the first impression. You never get past that anymore, if you know what I'm saying.
Absolutely. I just heard that the truth is our appearance is it's something like the first 6 seconds somebody meets you, they make a decision about who you are based on your appearance. And so that what you just said really resonates with me. My daughter's name is Ryan, which is typically a boy's name. We pronounce it Ryan, but I changed it. I changed the spelling out of fear that would happen to her whole life. It was originally supposed to be, the North American Ryan, because I love the name. And I feared that every year on the first day of school, they would expect that she would be a man or a boy. Every job interview, they would have an expectation of who she was supposed to be, and that it would alter her ability to be authentic in this world. So I deeply resonate with that you are almost at a disadvantage before you have the opportunity to show your greatness. So explain to me, okay, so the awakening happened at the beginning of COVID when everyone was in lockdown. And then the book. So in a year, just over a year and a half, you've had your spiritual awakening. You've come back to your authentic self. Self-love is such a huge part of who you are. And you just decided, let's write a book and create a great book in the world. Tell us about Sharing My Light and Healing Energy. Tell us all about that.
Well, it started with I discovered that I had a great, strong intuition. I wanted to develop that through meditation to get deeper. Then I found out, okay, hello, here's my inner child. I got this trigger from a person because I have been a people pleaser. I have been a giver, and the universe told me that it's time for you to receive. But in order to receive, you need to learn first your lessons and the insights that are given to you. So that's why I connected with my inner child. I discovered that I ignored her. I neglected her needs. I put other needs before mine, and that should be reversed. Or there needs to be an equal give and take, reciprocity in relationships. And I never had that, and I always wanted to have deeper connections. like people look at me superficially, and yeah, like it goes back to the expectations. But if you look further and if you open yourself a little bit more, then you can get to the bottom of who people really are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I never had those people around me who gave me a chance to really show who I am. And maybe the universe was saying to me, like, those people aren't worthy to see the real you. Maybe that's why.
Maybe the universe was saying that it is your responsibility to feel safe in your truth.
Yes.
And the right people will come, right?
Right. That's also another thing I discovered. We need to feel safe in order to build.
Yeah.
Like that grounded energy. We are responsible of our energy, how you call this? How we appear in our energy, because you can say one thing, but the energy behind it is much more important.
Absolutely. I teach the importance of energetics in terms of manifestation and energetics in business, and that is like the driving force behind it. It's you don't get to just be energetically aligned, quote unquote, for an hour while you're showing up on video for a podcast or for a training or and then behind the scenes your energy's all over the place. The universe doesn't respond to that. It's who are we when no one's watching and when everyone's watching. Can you maintain your energy when you are with yourself and with others? That really is alignment. That's how we collapse time in terms of manifestation, in terms of healing, in terms of building a business or promoting our book or whatever it is that we're on energetically. That we need to be level, like on. So I love that. I mean, you've had like a lot of lessons that you've learned in a year. It took me 10 to get here.
It was like a little bit overwhelming. It was surprising as well, because you get the intuition, you get the inner child. People write one book about intuition, one book about inner child. But for me, I was led to do a lot more topics in one, because that's my story, how it was evolving. And for me, it was nice to share it all in one, because then you have bits and pieces. It doesn't mean that it was how you call it, superficial. No, I made sure that I shared a lot of things in it. And that back to that trigger, it was like, it's our perception that counts, because I've learned from my own experience that sometimes we react based upon our past, and if we don't process our past fully, we take it in our relationships, even in our friendships, and that will become a blockage. Because when person A and person B, they both are unhealed, they trigger each other, situation becomes stagnant. There's no way out, because they both don't dare to share what's happening, But when you have another situation, like person A is like healed, person B is on the way to healing. That's my situation with my colleague right now. She literally, her energy is so supportive. She's like a mirror. She is revealing all my parts that I was wanting to hide, and that's my true self. I thought, how did this happen? It was because I was doing the inner work.
Yeah. Absolutely. So tell us more about the book. Is the book your story, or is it your story and also some tips if someone else has had? It's both. So it could really, if somebody is new to really understanding their healing journey and their energy, this could take them on the path.
Yes.
Absolutely. That's amazing. That's amazing.
It's part, I want it to be part of a memoir, but if I share my memoir, people don't have something on something. They get the insights, but they don't have the tools to get
Mm-hmm.
started.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that was important as well, because I always say, like, you have a book, you can read a book, but you need to be aware and you need to know how to apply. I didn't want to
Absolutely.
give people a book and read it and do nothing with it anymore later. I wanted to have a time that it had the timeless knowledge, the timeless wisdom that they can refer to every time when they needed it.
Absolutely. I love that so much.
Yeah.
Um, can you share with me
Okay.
two or three things that really, I'm sure they're in your book, so this is kind of a teaser. Two or three things that you adapted, two or three practices that you adapted as you became awakened, as you really tapped into your intuition. What are your favorite daily practices for your energy?
Well, for example, meditation, energy protection. Because I discovered I have been high sensitive as well. I pick up on energies of someone else from everybody around, and I figured out it drained my energy. But when I put a protection shield around me, like meditate every morning, then I know my energy is secure.
Right.
I have this safe place of my own. I can stay in my own energy, stay grounded, but still connect with others to get them the healing energy, just
Absolutely.
exactly what they need. And the second one is like the energy frequencies. The self-love one, the 528.
Mm-hmm.
That one was pretty confrontational. Yeah, because lots of emotions came out. But I was glad. It helped
Good.
me.
Good.
It helped me to stay flowing, that for my energy more to come back in alignment. The things that I needed to pay attention to came up. I was like, wow, super powerful.
Yeah. Self-love will do that, right? The journey will do that. It will really bring up a lot of perceived it'll bring up a lot of self-judgment. It'll bring up a lot of perceived judgment from others. It'll bring up a lot of expectation. Often we put these unrealistic expectations on ourselves, and then we can literally never meet them, which perpetuates the cycle of us judging ourselves, right? And so when we tap into that frequency, when we start to do the work around self-love, all of that crap and all of those false beliefs and negative beliefs that we've carried are going to come to the surface, and we have to face them, or we can push them back down and keep doing what we're doing. But when we're ready, and when we're really truly ready to evolve, we have to allow it to rise so that we can give ourselves space to heal. So that's really powerful. Are there, other than meditation and the energetic frequencies, are there daily tasks that you do or daily practices that you have that really keep you in a state of evolution?
Not really. Not really. But when something comes up, when my inner child wants to talk, wants attention, then I try to figure out what's going on, connect with her, so she's all right,
Yeah.
And I promised that I would never get anyone near anymore. That would be like a disturbance of my inner peace.
Boundaries. We shall call that boundaries.
Yeah, boundaries. Yeah. I was looking for that word.
I love this. I'm so excited for you to have your book in the world. I'm so excited for you to continue to evolve on this journey of your greatness. I'm excited to have given you a space to share your story. But now, where can my North American friends find your book?
They can find it on Amazon. It's ebook and it's a paperback as well.
Great. So, I will link that in the show notes of this episode. And before we sign off, is there anything else you want to share with my community?
Well, if you want to do something, just do it. Take that first step. Don't be scared. Because often we get blocked, we are blocking ourselves without even know it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's based of shame, fear, all of those crappy little things that come up. But actually we, if we align ourselves with our own truth, the things that are meant for us will come like in an instant.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You heard it here, guys. Just do it. I mean, I've been saying that for years. They're so used to me saying, just leap for the thing.
Yep.
Before we sign off, I'm going to ask you the same question that I ask every guest I've ever had. When, you know, it really is a journey. Our growth is a journey. Our self-love is a journey. It's a never-ending evolution. So now you're a year and a half in, you're really in alignment with who you are, but what limiting belief or false belief still comes up for you for time to time, and how do you navigate out of it quicker than you used to?
Ooh, that's a little bit. I need to think about this. Wait a second. Yeah, unconsciously, I think the fear of not getting accepted. Yeah. But when I meditate and with my energy and everything, I get to accept it. I get to embrace it. Because I can't, I can't suppress it. I'm just saying it's okay. It's okay from time to time that I feel that way. And then I get the chance to release it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Easier.
I love that. I love that you share that particular perceived judgment as well, that we're not accepted. I firmly believe that as women, that is the number one fear, is that we will be judged or that people won't like us. And so I think it's really important that we continue on this show and in our platforms to normalize these false beliefs that we all carry. So Gresson, thank you so much for being on the show. I'm so grateful that you were here with us today. And I can't wait for all my people to find you and your book.
Happy to be here. Always a pleasure.
Thank you. And to all my listeners, as always, I hope you love yourself fiercely and fully today and every day. See you on the next episode.